Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now September 16th of 2020, and ever since the very end of the Skywalker saga, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney, Lucasfilm, Bob Iger, and Bob Chapek, and exactly what they're all about to deliver over the next couple of years on Disney Plus and for theatrical releases, such as the new Star Wars trilogy, new spin-off films, you name it. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that yes, we do know that they are now heading in a better direction, a more positive direction, if you will, for the future of the Star Wars franchise to really take advantage of some of the core characters, like, of course, for example, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, you name it. That's just to name a few, while also introducing new characters on the side. I'm sure that a large majority of you guys out there saw the second season of the Mandalorian trailer just yesterday, and you could see that they really are experimenting with a lot of different aspects for Disney Plus, and I think that's one of the main reasons as to why that trailer in particular felt more upscale, or more in-depth, if you will, than the previous season of The Mandalorian. Now, looking at everything related to the future of Star Wars, we do know that as of right now, Kathleen Kennedy has little to no involvement on a creative scale for the Star Wars projects that are currently in the works, which honestly is a really good thing. That tells us that George Lucas, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni, they're doing their absolute best to get things done correctly, essentially, and to really get things on the right path here. However, what's really intriguing all has to do with actor Mark Hamill and Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy and a particular Star Wars project meant for Disney Plus. Now, on top of all of this, with the Skywalker saga now over, both Disney and Lucasfilm are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy of films, as well as their new Star Wars universe. It's explained that behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, Bob Chapek has been making many changes to the new Star Wars universe. It's explained, however, that during Kathleen Kennedy's time, in which she had full creative control, Lucasfilm as a company was going downhill consistently with Kennedy's decision on the new Star Wars universe. It's explained that at one point in time, actor Mark Hamill was signed on for a new Star Wars project that was going to be released on Disney Plus, that was going to explore a brand new era in the Star Wars universe. It's explained that Kathleen Kennedy is the one responsible of who canceled Mark Hamill from the series and essentially fired him from the TV series for Disney Plus. This was said to have all happened after Mark Hamill voiced his opinions about The Last Jedi and director Rian Johnson in late 2017 into early 2018. The show was set to explore a band of new characters in between the events of the originals and sequel trilogy movies, to where Mark Hamill was originally signed on to have a couple of big scenes in the TV series as Luke Skywalker that would explore more of the character before his, of course, days on Ahch-To. Now, the series was originally planned to begin filming sometime in 2020 this year, which is rather unfortunate because we all know that that probably wouldn't have happened anyway due to the global pandemic, and that though the series was not all about Luke Skywalker, Luke would be a character that would jump in and out of the story while focusing on the brand new characters in the 10-episode series that was meant to only be one season long. So here's the thing about this, alright, let's stop here for a second, is that essentially what Disney was doing at the time is that they were trying to find an avenue to explore a different era in the Star Wars universe. An era that takes place between essentially the originals and the sequels, that would really explore, the time of Luke Skywalker's life before his days on Ahch-To, as well as exploring new characters. Now, Mark Hamill, mind you, was let go from the series because of what Mark Hamill did with The Last Jedi of voicing his opinions, and Kathleen Kennedy intervened and let him go from that show, and we'll get into the complications in just a second, but you guys may recall that there were a lot of Force sensitives that were teased at the very end of The Last Jedi, and this was actually supposed to be attached to this particular TV show. Now, on top of all of this was Disney's attempt at the time to explore the character of Luke in a way, and in a different and unique way for the fans to enjoy. The series had a code name that was dubbed Green Walk, where some of the creators over at Lucasfilm were already in the pre-production phase of the series that would explore the Knights of Ren, the unknown regions, as well as Force sensitives in the galaxy that would be explored in the Star Wars TV series. There was even a pitch by Kennedy to include the character Temery Blagg from The Last Jedi, otherwise known as the Broom Boy, at the very end of the film to be included in the series. So once again, this is yet again another way for Kathleen Kennedy to essentially attach Rian Johnson's work, in a sense, to a Disney Plus project. This was one big idea that was shot down. Thankfully, I think it was for the best that this show did not happen. Now, granted, it would have given Mark Hamill more work, and it really would have given us a more vivid view of Luke's life before the events of The Force Awakens, but let's not forget here that this show in particular, I think, honestly, would have failed, and the fact that Mark Hamill got canceled from this project, you know, it's still very much a disrespectful thing to do by Kathleen Kennedy just because Mark Hamill voiced his opinions on The Last Jedi. That's the one thing that I have a lot of problems with, is the fact that Hamill was let go from the series because of what he said about The Last Jedi and what he said about Rian Johnson, and that Kennedy did not really want to work with Mark Hamill as much anymore. And that's just honestly disrespectful, because at the end of the day, I don't even think Star Wars would be where it is now if it weren't for Luke Skywalker, to be honest with you. So, given that this series was canceled, I think it still was a blessing in disguise. I think it would have actually made things worse for Mark Hamill in the long run, because this series just sounds like it would have been a total train wreck. I don't know about you, but to me it does. Now, additionally, this series was also going to have a massive side story of the Force sensitives, much like the Broom Boy in The Last Jedi. Surprisingly, Mark Hamill was excited to begin work on the project since he would be given a more positive version of Luke Skywalker, since it took place before his days on the world of Octu. The show was also going to use some of John Williams' unused themes from The Last Jedi, where this entire show came tumbling down once Kathleen Kennedy decided to cancel not just Mark Hamill from the series, but also the entire Star Wars TV show for Disney Plus at a later point in time. At first, Hamill was let go, or essentially fired from the project, and pre-production continued for some months on the series, until Kennedy finally pulled the plug on the show entirely at some point at the very end of 2018, where the series was also going to bring in Finn and Poe. However, both John Boyega and Oscar Isaac refused to come back as those characters, which only made the series tougher to create. That's a big key moment right there that I think a lot of fans need to realize there. Now, let's go over that particular piece, alright? The fact that we have John Boyega and Oscar Isaac refusing to come back even in early 2018 on this project that would re-explore the characters of Poe and Finn before the events of The Force Awakens, showing us what Poe's life was like, what Finn's life was like in the First Order as a stormtrooper more so. I honestly think that, you know, John Boyega and Oscar Isaac already knew what was up with Star Wars well before The Rise of Skywalker even was released. They knew that Star Wars was taking a big, you know, downhill turn here for Star Wars overall, and they just wanted out. They just wanted out because it was hurting their careers. It already hurt Daisy's career, and they were obviously pretty much afraid that it was going to hurt their careers. Thankfully, Isaac is attached to the Dune 2020 movie. I think he's going to get more roles regardless. I'm not quite sure about John Boyega. Hopefully he does. I think he's a great actor, honestly, and he has a lot of potential. But we haven't heard all that much for John Boyega when it comes to major blockbusters. So, the other thing here is that, once again, I have two opinions on this. It's disrespectful to Mark Hamill by Kennedy to cancel him, to fire Mark Hamill in a sense from the series, just because of how he thought about, or what he thought about The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson. On the other hand, I do believe it was a blessing in disguise, because this show just sounds like it would have been boring. It doesn't sound like it really fits Star Wars, to me at least. And a story between the events of the sequels and the originals that would explore Finn and Poe and a different period of the Force-sensitive individuals. I'm not really quite sure how I feel about that. I think it really wouldn't have done all that well, even though they only planned for it to be 1 season long. I don't know, guys. So, like I've said before in the past, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.